Everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, CEO of Dealer Synergy, and
Joe Calla, General Manager of Dealer Synergy.
okay, and this is part two of the director responsibilities. So first and foremost, I want to just reiterate that the highlight is that it is very, very important. As a matter of fact, it is imperative that you choose the right internet director for your department. And yes, you need an internet director if you want to be successful in internet sales. You need a department head. Any profit center in the dealership needs a department head. So now we're going to break down the responsibilities. First and foremost, internet director of 2013 and beyond needs to be an advanced sales manager. You need a person that's going to, in my opinion, be able to motivate and lead and drive that room. So whether you have one appointment setter, 2, 5, 8, 10, 20 appointment setters and there are BDC reps, that internet director's number one job is to motivate and lead and inspire. For example, if you think of a college crew team, right? You have somebody that's just shouting, row, row. Or in the military, your drill instructor, your drill sergeant is what? It's called on cadence. I like it. I love it. I want more of it. You need somebody to call rhythm and make sure everybody is operating on all cylinders. Joe, what is your opinion on that?
Absolutely, and that is a very important factor because I just wrote an article and it's called "Be Either a Thermostat or a Thermometer." And we're talking about setting the temperature of your department by doing what Sean's talking about here. When you go in and you motivate, you inspire, you walk, you touch your people in the morning, you talk to them in the morning, you start your day off with making sure you're turning the temperature up or down in the department based off of your interaction with your team. It's so important to set that atmosphere and create a culture that's going to be inspiring and motivating for them to be able to come in and do their job every day. It's 100% right on.
Okay, so the setting the tone and the cadence, because you got to realize the hardest part of this internet department in any dealership in any part of this world, not just the United States, is getting the prospect on the phone. So the internet department is predominantly, let's keep it real, a follow-up department. Emails, phone calls, social media, texting, whatever. It's a monumental, colossal amount of follow-up. And then you got to realize it's very little payoff. You only have about a 2% read open rate on emails. You only have about an 11 to 14% connection ratio on the phone call attempts. So since there's such an abundance of attempts versus actual connections or communication, that kind of wears you down. So you need that person that's going to drive, motivate, inspire, and hammer. But what Joe said, I totally believe you got to lead by example. In my opinion, the internet director has got to be the best coordinator. The internet director needs to be the best BDC rep. That means the internet director can't just tell the coordinators or appointment setters what to do. They need to be really good at picking up the phone, making phone calls and appointments, confirming phone calls, etc. Joey, what do you think about a director let's talk about that for a second, about them actually walking the walk, not just talking the talk?
Yeah, I believe it's important. You do have to have the ability and the skill set to at any time jump in. If somebody, it's the same way. If an owner of a restaurant was to come in and their chef is out for the day, well, what are they going to do? Well, the owner needs to be able to know how to get behind and get in the line and start cooking and making these meals. They better know their menu. And it's the same thing when it comes to what you're pushing out of your internet department. You as a internet director need to have the skill set and the ability to sit down in front of the computer and know how to work the process, get on the phone, know how to handle the objections and rebuttals and all that stuff that you're going to deal with and your coordinators are going to deal with on an everyday basis. So you definitely have to have that ability to do that.
I'm going to be even more specific. In the Dealer Synergy system, we are training the Dealer Synergy 10-step road to the appointment process, our outbound phone call process, the inbound phone call process, the qualification prospect, how to identify a prospect's wants, wishes, expectations, the top 5 or top 7 reasons why people are going online, and 7 responses for each, which is like 35, 42 different responses for each of the top 5 or 7 reasons why people are going online. Your value package proposition proposition, how to differentiate yourself, how to identify what's different and better about your organization. This is stuff that an appointment setter needs to do. How in the world can an internet director run a department and they don't know the outbound phone call process? They don't know the inbound phone call process. They don't know how to qualify. They don't know how to identify wants, wishes, expectations. They don't know objections, rebuttals. They can't clearly articulate and passionately execute your value package proposition. It is not right. It doesn't make sense. I know some internet directors that have an aversion. It's called call reluctance. They don't like the phone. How could you not like the phone in an internet department or BDC if you're the director? You have to be able to walk the walk, and you have to be able to talk the talk, and you have to be able to do it as good or better than your team, or else you will not have respect. You'll be a lame duck director. Yes or no?
You do. I agree. You have to have the ability to get in there. If there's somebody on the phone that needs some assistance or some help, you have to be able to say, okay, let me get on the phone with them, and then while in front of the coordinator, show them and teach them how to, respond by doing actual responses. It is so important to get in with your people. One of the things I love most about, when I think about, for example, a certain CEO of a company that has their desk in the middle, and this is a huge company. This company has, millions and millions of impact when it comes to what they're doing in the marketplace. They're touching people all over the world. But the CEO of this company specifically, their desk is right in the middle of all their workers. They're in the midst of everything. They're not set off to the side in the back, sitting behind looking at all these charts and counting beans. They're actually out there with the people so that they're able to go ahead and see what the people are going through and also interact like their employees do. So it's so important for the success of that department.
Okay, now going a little bit further than this is that a director needs to be able to have great time management and organization skills. This is very, very important. Time management and organization skills. You have to be careful of distractions disguised as opportunities. Let's go through some of the things that they need to do in the department. Well, you need to be able to conduct, plan meetings. Meetings for at least weekly meetings with your department on a global level about the department. Whether you have 3, 5, 10, 15 appointment setters under you, you've got to have a strong schedule of when you're going to have meetings. And you need to be able to create an agenda of what the meeting is. You can't just say, okay, meeting everybody. You have to be able to be skilled and not waste people's time, because every time they're not dialing the phones or engaging a prospect, the dealership's not making money. So you have to be able to schedule global meetings. Now, besides global meetings, you need to be able to schedule one-on-ones. That is a huge job of any sales manager and any internet director, is that you have to do one-on-ones. Well, what is a one-on-one? A one-on-one is when you engage each individual employee and you identify their SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat assessments. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threat assessments. What does that mean? Well, you need to, let's say Joe worked for me, he was an appointment setter. I need to know what Joe's strengths are, what his weaknesses are, what opportunities he has, what threats meaning challenges. For example, if Joey was really, really good with making phone calls, making phone calls, he was a beast at making phone calls, that's a strength. Okay, one of his weaknesses, though, he didn't have a very good skill set with the objections and rebuttals. What opportunities does he have? Well, he can make a lot more money for us, for himself, but he needs to do this, this, and this. I need to know where Joe is as far as a person on my team. Because when I was in the Army and the Reserves and RCC, one of the things that always stuck with me is you're only as strong as your weakest link. Think about that. A chain is only as strong as the weakest link. So you can't just manage the department globally. You have to individually do one-on-ones. Joe, talk about that.
Yeah, so what you need to be able to identify is where are there specific areas that can be re-strengthened if they are weak. For example, somebody may be strong specifically at, like Sean was saying, just hammering the phones and calling and calling and calling. However, when they're making their connection, there comes a point where there could be an objection that somebody puts up there that they only have one rebuttal to. So they're very weak when it comes to handling, let's just say, the price objection. Or if somebody said specifically, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they said that one of their issues they're dealing with for their coordinators is dealing with used car pricing and how to overcome that. And so I said to her, well, one way you can do that is simply by making them understand that the idea of the internet is so important for the customer to see that, listen, if we want to be competitive, if we want to sell our inventory, you need to understand that we have to have very, very competitive pricing. So this pricing that we place on the internet is already a discounted price. If it wasn't, if it wasn't discounted or enticing, you wouldn't be on the phone with me right now. Would you agree? And they heard that and they said, wow, that's a perfect opportunity for me to help give them another tool to use in their toolbox to help them overcome. So she identified that one of the things that was weak was that specific area, and now we just helped give her some additional ammo to help her give to her coordinator, so that when her coordinator goes through that again the next time, she's going to be able to maybe pull that out and use that. And the other thing that's important to remember is that there has to be continued practicing. When I was in wrestling, I used to wrestle in high school. My coach used to say, practice does not make perfect. And I used to say, well, wait a second, practice makes perfect. That's what I heard, that's my parents told me that. That's what I heard my whole life. It doesn't. Practice doesn't make perfect, because if you're practicing the wrong way, what is it going to do? It's going to make you do things the wrong way. So practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. So what you need to do is work on making sure that you practice properly and practice the right way, because if you're practicing the wrong way and you're doing things the way they're not supposed to be done, then you're going to be going into patterns that are going to be ineffective. So make sure that you practice together, make sure you go through role play, and you train one another in helping you guys get stronger, and you gals get stronger in your areas that you may have those weaknesses at.
Now, jumping in, so we've talked about a lot of stuff for the internet director. You know, the one-on-ones, the global meetings, we're talking about time management. Another very, very important aspect is how to liaison with the showroom floor with the other managers. You got to realize that a lot of dealerships, there's like an us or them mentality. There's a breakdown in communication. The internet director needs to be a liaison, an ambassador, an emissary between the entire dealership. So that means that the internet director needs to be able to communicate with the dealer principal or the GM, whoever the direct contact is. The internet director needs to be able to coordinate with the showroom salespeople, because remember, the internet department, the appointment setters and BDC reps, they don't do product presentations, demo drives, and deliveries. So that internet director needs to make sure that everybody's getting what they need. So for example, if a prospect is coming in and there's a TO, the coordinator turns on TOs to the showroom, there needs to be clear communication. There needs to be respect. The salesperson needs to be able to communicate to the coordinator what's going on. Notes got to be put into the CRM. So it is very, very important that the internet director is almost like an air traffic control cop, making sure the airplanes are not colliding. Can you talk about that? How the communication and the liaison is so vital?
It is vital, because when you're setting up, especially if you're dealing with the appointment setter model, you're making sure that everything's flowing properly into the dealership showroom. And so if you're having people show up and there's no idea that they're even showing up, they could be standing around and you're telling them they're going to experience the best service, they're going to have, a VIP experience, they're going to have a car waiting, but you forgot to go ahead and let the management and the team know on the other side of the showroom that they're coming in, then it's going to look like nobody knows what they're doing here, and it's going to be a very hard thing to explain, especially when someone goes and writes a bad review about their experience online. So it is so important. Communication is so key to making this thing flow properly and work good. Because if you don't communicate with each other, if you don't communicate throughout the entire store with making sure everybody's on the same page, then there's going to be some major hiccups, and we're going to have some bad reviews, and we're going to get some bad name in the community about how we handle our customers. And we don't want that to happen at all.
Okay, and we're going to stop this video here. We're going to go to video number 3 in a moment. Thank you so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed listening to and learning the information that you just saw. Because if you did, I promise you're going to love automotive digital training. So do me a favor, go to automotivedigitaltraining.com and take a look.